Hi, everybody. Dave Sullivan here. I have a very special guest this time.
Oh, hi, Dave. Patty Corkery. I am the president and CEO of the Michigan Credit Union League, a trade association for our credit unions here in Michigan. And I also lead CUSG, which is a credit union service organization that works around the country with a lot of different technology resources for credit unions.
Many of those we use as well, but
Great.
the reason I wanted to bring you on here is I read in your blog that you told a story about your father and how he came into the credit union industry and how that affected you and your brother. Could you briefly tell that story for us?
Sure. Yeah. It was in the early 1970s. My dad was working as a collector for a department store, and he was an Army reservist, and he was leaving his reserve training one day, and there was a flyer on his car talking about a credit union, and he had never heard of a credit union. So he went in and learned all about the credit union space. They found out what he did for a living, and they asked, "Hey, have you ever thought about working with a credit union?" In addition to us, like, working with the loan, it was actually a credit card consolidation loan. Would you ever work with a credit union? And so they referred my dad to the Michigan Credit Union League, who helps pair folks with jobs in the credit union space. And he started working for a credit union, ironically, the same one where he got his loan. So it was like this crazy story. And then, decades later, my brother and I come along, and now my brother is a CEO of a credit union here in Michigan, and I'm where I am. So he created this credit union legacy without even realizing he was doing so.
It is quite a legacy,
You know?
and I admire that marketing that they did back in the day of putting the flyers on the car. We
Yeah.
think we should get back into that.
I don't know if that'll work anymore, but
Yeah,
yeah, it was, and it was interesting because what I love about that story, Dave, is that not only did they talk to him about a loan, but they got to know him as a person and what are your career goals? And only at a credit union can you experience something like that. They're not just trying to sell you something. They're actually there to just help support and make your life better, which I think is one of the cornerstones of our movement and what you all do at People Driven and what credit unions around the state are doing. It's more than just alone. It's a relationship, which is really telling in that story.
absolutely, and I love the fact that that credit union happened to be our credit union.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, I left that part out. Yes. Well, credit unions change names, as we know, and yeah, the credit union where my dad got his loan and his job, was, the original U, and now your
Detroit,
name
yeah,
has evolved. Yeah,
yeah,
Detroit Employees Federal Credit Union,
yes,
and, they were at 8 Mile and Southfield Road, and, yeah, I remember playing in the lobby there as a child. Yeah,
wow,
that's right, it's now people driven, so
yeah, full
crazy.
circle. I love that story, Patty, and thanks for sharing it.
Sure.
You know, he went to the league to find opportunities. We still do that now, correct? That's on
Yep.
your website, correct? How can people
Yes.
find out more about that?
Yeah, at our tryacreditunion.com website, you can learn all about credit unions. You can find a credit union, but there's credit union careers. So credit unions from around the state, including yours, put their job postings there. So you can search for an in-person job, a remote job. You can put in your zip code, all sorts of things, and it'll link you right to the credit union. So we strongly encourage people when they're looking for a place that's really more than just a job, right? It's becoming part of this movement. We're thrilled to still connect people with those credit union jobs.
What advice would you give somebody maybe coming out of college or trying to even restart their career? You know, I wasn't really in the credit union space up until about 9 years ago, and I've really seemed to have found a home here in the industry. And what would you tell young people coming out of college or people who want to restart their career?
Yeah, well, we know that an employer's purpose is so much more important, I think, than it used to be. And really, we're thinking about where you're working, if you like what you're doing, and if you feel like you're making an impact. Those things really matter, especially to younger people as they're launching their career. They don't want just a job; they will really want to make a difference. And I think when people join our credit union movement, we work with a lot of young professionals around the state. That really rings true. They find out that they're mission-driven organizations that are really just working so hard to support the communities that they serve, that it's really an encouraging and inspiring place to be. So I think if people go to that website or they follow it on social, credit unions post, we have a lot of different stories of young people actually right now on the Try a Credit Union page that work at credit unions, and they share their story of why it has made a difference for them and why it's important for them to work in our industry. And yeah, we talk about it. We've said it a couple times already. It's really not just a job. You're becoming part of a movement. And that's why so many people, Dave, I'm sure similar for you, is it's hard for people in our industry to retire, right? Or they say, what is the most cool thing about what you do? And it's always the people. It's always the people. And so there's just so many, and there's so many different careers in our space, right? Like marketing, like yourself, you can be in lending, you can be in finance and accounting. There's just so many
Elections.
areas. Yeah, exactly. Right. Collections. So many different areas and really places to grow, right? There's so many different trajectories you can take at the credit union space. So yeah, it's just I've definitely drank the Kool-Aid and I'm super passionate about the industry. So I love talking about credit unions to young people and, sending them to the right place to get a job for sure.
Well, the Kool-Aid may have been in your bottle, though.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah,
think you're right.
the
I
young
think you're
age.
right. It was destiny.
One thing that I've found at least my credit union, I'm sure it's similar at other credit unions, is that there's like a mentorship almost immediately when you come in. And it's not necessarily directly from your immediate boss. It could be from the CEO or a coworker, but they really embrace you when you come in and they help you get up to speed because it takes time to get up to speed at any position. But the mentorship, especially from somebody like Renee DeMarco for me, has really made a big difference in what I've had. Have you had a mentor as you've come through your journey at the credit union league there?
Um I think my first mentor and really my only one has been Chuck Holzman, right? He's an attorney in the credit union space, and I practiced law for 20 years representing credit unions before I took my current role, and so I think Chuck, really helped me navigate the credit union movement, getting to know all of our credit unions here in Michigan, and so that really set the stage for me in working directly with credit unions. But I agree with what you're saying, Dave. It's really important to get into a place that really cares about your professional development. And I've talked to so many credit unions where how can we be better at career mapping or, really making our young people feel like we're investing in them. And you see that with a lot of the different places that the education events and the things that young professionals are involved in. We have a huge young professional movement here in Michigan, and credit unions are thrilled to send their younger employees into this group to learn about advocacy, to learn about the movement, and to network with other people that are doing similar things. So, definitely a huge priority is to keep people happy, keep people feeling developed and that they're invested in, and that's something that our credit unions are concerned about and they want to make sure that they're doing. And it's really awesome to see that as a big focus.
Well, thank you, Patty. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on the board seat for the America's Credit Union Board, as well as the many other accolades that you've been getting lately. So we appreciate you being part of a leader in our industry here in Michigan.
Well, thanks, Dave. And you guys are actively involved because you have a special someone on your team that's on my board, right? So People Driven has a seat on the Michigan Credit Union League board, which really helps drive the focus with Emily. So super thrilled that she's part of our team as well.
That's great. Thank you so much, Patty. Happy holidays.
Thanks. Same to you, Dave. Thanks for having me.